Everybody, this is Chris Denman, and you're listening to Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Scissors beat paper, paper covers rock. Rock beats scissors, Shane covers non-stop. Never know what new kind of guest that he's got coming at you. Live and direct on the spot, could be rock, folk, country, or hip-hop, jazz. All kind of folks that he has. Could be an artist or a comedian to make you laugh on the
Rock Paper Podcast.
Double-decker fudge round, rolling round town. Shane coming at you live and direct from ground zero. He's your hero, he's your bestie. Rock Paper Podcast with Shane Presley.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Hanging out today with Chris Denman. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
It's been a few years, Shane. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Dude, yeah, I just pulled that up to see. I know it's been way too long, and 2016, man. How's it been that long?
That's insane. Like, I want to say Casey Reeves, my good friend, came on with me. We had a blast and kicked it.
Yeah.
Did it on the radio station.
Live. We are live.
Man, I missed that theme song.
Yeah.
I listened to your show the other day, and I was like, "Fuck you, Shane, keeping your cool intro." Whenever I haven't heard the full version of the original "We Are Live" theme song. When we started the show, Travis and I were, literally practicing in the library and like writing down potential guests and all this stuff. One of my top 3 things was like cool guest list, come up with custom song for our show.
Yeah.
And then like Travis was like, I don't know, man, maybe something with some beats in it. I'm like, nope. I have a vision. I need an Americana silly version of a song that says our name 20 times over. And Casey nailed it.
Nailed it. Yeah.
I was listening when I heard yours. I was like, man, I loved that intro because we cut it down and then we changed it, all this stuff. And I'm like, he wrote Casey Reeves. Don't ask your friends for favors, people. This is so rude. He wrote that. And then shout out to Andrew Ryan for recording it and helping out too. He wrote an entire song based on like 2 paragraphs of notes I gave him. And what I liked, I gave him 2 examples of other songs that I wanted it to sound like. And he nailed it. I couldn't believe it. So shout out to Casey.
Yep. Very talented man. Mine, the original, which somebody actually just, a friend of mine he was coming to pick up his kids at the school I work at. And and he's like, Rock Paper Podcast, y'all. And like, he, went back the OG, man. And that was like, just like you're saying, that was just something goofy. Like I knew I wanted to have something there. I wanted to have like this little just buffer, and I came up with this goofy idea, and we recorded it all on our own. Chris put this like beat to it to make it what it was like. And we ran with it for a long time until I decided to actually invest in some production and make a real, theme song. So, but that's a dub flow on the rap, and my buddy Michael Bivens created the beat to it. And
That's awesome.
I was talking about that today, actually, because if anybody was following along, and I've been sent you some updates along the way, but I launched that new T-shirt, Little Shaney, and that's where all this kind of came out of that. Like, I mean, I've been a Little Debbie guy for a long time. And, yeah, I mean,
wouldn't have guessed.
I don't know.
Much like people wouldn't guess that about me.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if you could tell, but I'm a fan. So,
dude, your shirt. So I'm sitting here for listeners or people watching or whatever. I'm part of a company called Midcoast Media, and part of our company is apparel, and that part's called By Jack. And shout out to John Beebe, who's undoubtedly going to listen to this and be like, "Whoa, blah, blah, blah." He's going to have a bunch to say. So John I'll let you make the announcement. I'll just say this. I had a behind the scenes peek today, and you, sir, have some supportive T-shirt loving folks.
Yeah. Yeah. I was very happy with the response today. So that was that felt really good to see people that are wanting to wear a silly T-shirt with my face on it. So,
I mean, like, what goes into that? Like, what motivates you to do? What's your process of coming up with that? No, what's the where does the love for Little Debbie come from? Is it growing up and just being a kid?
oh yeah. Well, I mean, I think a part of it, even funnier in another level, is my mother's name was Debbie too. So like, she was always called Little Debbie kind of thing. So like, whatever, because she also is 5'3", so she is pretty little. So
how does that happen? How tall are you?
6'4".
I'm 6'3.5", no shoes on. My younger brother is 6'7". My mom's 5'5". My dad's 6'2". Like, does that work out? Like, how does that happen?
My dad's 6'9", so that's where I get it from him.
Now, so yours makes sense.
Yeah, the Presley sides were all like 6, and my uncles were like 6'6", aunts were like 6 foot tall. Like, we're all big people on my dad's side of the family. So,
was it nice going into the public and being the big guy for once?
Yeah. Well, that's I was always the big guy through school, like, going all through high school or whatever. But it was it wasn't until you start playing all the other schools, basketball teams or football teams or whatever, and you realize you're not the big guy anymore. Like,
isn't that disheartening?
Yeah.
Man, what did you play sports? I can't remember.
Oh yeah. Yeah. All through Little League football, and played until my sophomore year. I ended up quitting my sophomore year. I started having a lot of knee trouble, and
that happens, man.
Got out of it. Well, I grew like 4 inches in a month, and during like my going into my freshman year, so like caught up with me, and then like I was like, I gotta take a break, and unfortunately never went back. I mean, like I was kind of my parents split my sophomore year in 01, and then I started working. I got a car, needed to get gas money and everything else.
Chasing girl.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that was like we're the same age, or I think you're a little younger than me. Those were like, you would just ask someone where they would be. Like, even I had a cell phone, like I didn't use it much because I would get screamed at. But the days of like, hey, let's get out of here before so-and-so comes.
Right.
Never again.
Right. But yeah, anyway, so Little Debbie's always been there. But I did so, and then always been a big fan. I posted this picture like this on Facebook, double-decker fudge round, and just because I'm a fan also again, and all of a sudden like comes around my buddy Dubs cutting my theme song, and he sends me his lyrics and stuff that he recorded, and he's like, says something, double-decker fudge round rolling around town, and I'm like, I just like started crying, laughing. I'm like, now how does that make it into my theme song for the show? But it works, and all of a sudden I become like the Little Debbie guy, and I people, if sometimes my friends come on as guests on the show and they bring me Little Debbies or whatever, it's just like, I'm like, well, it could be worse things, so.
Yeah, right. You could be the beehive guy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, old Nicolas Cage, man.
All right.
Yeah.
You promised me there wouldn't be a Nicolas Cage reference until 30 minutes in.
Yeah,
all right.
Drink two if you're playing along at
cheers,
home.
by the way. Happy Friday. Thanks for having me on, Shane.
Hell yeah, man. I'm glad you made it, man. We're having a nice little Friday night drinking, and yeah. Anyway, silly idea. Shout out to Andrew Binder for helping make it come to life. Icon and Ink, and I reached out to John. I said, "Hey, let's print some shirts, man." So here we are.
Well, dude, I think you got a winner, and the fact that you don't have to, get a truckload of them and people can just order them, like, that's kind of nice. So I think it's popular. I'll say that. So people need to get their hands on it.
I do fantasize sometimes while I'm driving down the highway about stealing a Little Debbie truck sometime, and just like,
How would you do it?
I don't know, but I'm just making a run for it, like just me and a truck full of Nutty Bars and Star Crunch.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, is Little Debbie, does that include like zebra cakes?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm down with the zebra cakes.
Yeah.
I can get down on anything that they say is birthday is delicious. It's delicious.
Yep.
So good. They're like, oh, birthday party, blah, blah, blah. Man, and yeah, I feel you, boo.
Yep. I hope we've mentioned them enough I can get some sponsorships coming in from them. So that's really my goal.
I think they're legally bound.
Right.
If you get mentioned that many times on Rock Paper Podcast, like this is now a contract.
All right. I really just hope they don't send me a cease and desist. That's my main goal.
Yes. And it could also be awesome. It was
right.
Like, imagine framing that next to one of the little Shanies t-shirts.
My street cred would definitely go up.
Especially among Lils and like snack cakes, right? Like that could be just a big moment in your life.
Yep.
And I think you deserve it.
That's when I know I made it, man.
No doubt.
But yeah, man, we should, like we mentioned, we're having a couple of beverages, and be a nice little tie-in, I think, to what you've been up to. And I've been really enjoying your work with drinks with the band, and that's why I thought it'd be fun to sit and chat with you tonight, plus just catch up and talk about snack cakes for an hour. So
that's all I need, to be honest.
But
no, yeah, drinks with the band's been fun, man. I've really enjoyed it. Like it's conversation. I'm super lucky to be working with E.T., who's the U.S. ambassador for Jack Daniels. Like, outside of U.S. ambassador for Little Debbie, like, do you understand how cool you have to be the guy on for Jack Daniels? They're like, Sinatra hocked Jack Daniels for nothing. He was not paid. Like, it's incredible. So yeah, like, not to be, company man, but they're so cool. They don't give me any trouble I do whatever I want. Like, E.T.'s great. He's got a million great stories. And I get to work with my now like really good friend, Katie Tupin, on booking the show. She's sober. Jack Daniels they're so cool with people who don't drink, so supportive. And we've gotten this like behind the scenes look at, like, you're like me, like you more than anyone in St. Louis for that matter. You're into all types of music, right? Oh, you're into different levels. I've went hard for the last 6 years being obsessed with comedy. Still am. Like, love talking to comics. And that would be the bulk of the interesting interviews we would do, mix in with some cool St. Louis people and occasionally musicians. And then with musicians being stuck at home and striking up a friendship with Katie and having this idea that we put together, and then the support, like, man, such a good feeling. And like, I would be honest, and I mean this, like, I would call someone out if they sucked. Like, I think in 6 years of comedy interviews, I could name 2 people that didn't have an awesome time, but were not rude and were still cool. Mm-hmm. The bands have all been awesome. Like, no, and it helps. They're comfortable coming in. Katie's an accomplished musician herself. So if she kind of gives the nod, like, it's cool that they come in ready to have a good time, Yeah, man. Yeah. I did find it, that's, obviously following you for many years. I did find it interesting. Like, you're talking about that switch, like you had all these great comedians on for many years, like you said. And like, and then all of a sudden, most recently you've been talking to these bands and it's weird, obviously, as I've talked to many comedians and bands too. Sure.
It's a whole different frame of interviewing, it's like, so it's definitely a skill to learn to switch that up,
Great point.
Sometimes as comedians, you just kind of let them run, you get to do, you get to kind of field some questions or premises or whatever, and kind of let them do their thing, and then you improv along with them and see if you can hang, and have a good time. And it's just, sometimes for musicians, you got to dig a little deeper to finally, get some of that stuff out or find the story behind that song or whatever it is. And
yeah, and that's such a good point that you bring up, because don't get me wrong, like comics, you better be sharp too, and like you better like don't bore them, and don't try and overdo it, but then do participate, like there's that weird like back and forth. So, and I'll kind of explain this in a second, but like back to your point about music, 4 years ago, probably not long after we first talked, or before maybe, Travis and I did a cool thing with Rick and Ben from Lucero. And like, dude, we started the radio show, which is basically a podcast on the radio. And it was 3 hours, 5 nights a week. We had all this time to fill, and I loved it. But like at the time, I get to interview Greg Fitzsimmons. I have on like, I remember laughing with Ian Edwards last year. I was like, dude, you were one of our first guests and we tricked you. You thought we were a big show. And like, it was whatever. My point is like, by the time I got to Lucero, 8 months into doing radio or whatever, I could have hung it up. They're literally one of my favorite bands. I'm obsessed with Ben's Brothers movies. That would have been a career like cap off, right? Other than that, and then the super cool local musicians that we've had fun having on throughout the years, Beth Bombara, Karen Choi, Gavin's been, all these cool people. Casey made our freaking theme song. And you have these, shout out to Josh Eaker too, by the way. I'm just naming every St. Louis musician.
Right.
The fun we would have, I would just be like, I get to talk to even like an up and coming comic is going to be way better at talking than your average front man who could be selling out stadiums. Like lead singers, like they may look the part and write the songs or sing them well. That doesn't mean they can talk. That doesn't mean they nor would they be required to, right? Like, why would you do, that's a different muscle. So when this stuff happened, I've been so pleasantly surprised at people's willingness to have a good conversation. And it almost felt cathartic to them. Like I got to be buddies with like Womack from Future Birds or like Ron Gallo or these people that come on, and then you see like they get to breathe a sigh of relief because like they get to talk. And they did happen to be talented people who are front men, front women. And you try and just have a good time with them. So, but back to your point with the comedy thing, my stuff, the way it's kind of changed, like Helium and Funny Bone, like we always have their comics on, and that's a thing that's slowed down. Or, oh, well, can you do this, this virtual thing? Like, and then it's like, maybe they're available Tuesday. It just got to be really hard. So those interviews will come back. Like TJ Miller's coming in soon. And I've been super sad I haven't had some of these people on. Just hasn't worked out schedule wise. But as a human, as a person who loves comedy, I'm on 2 shows every week with 3 stand-up comics and 1 showrunner. That's Sunday Papers with Greg Fitzsimmons and Mike Gibbons, and then 2 Funny Mamas with Sherry and Kim. And like that, like I have to come up with stuff for those shows. I have to help out, coordinate all those things. So it's weird because it looks like you're like, oh, you just made that switch from like comedy to music, but I'm getting more comedy than I ever have, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, I do love what you're doing with the drinks with the band, because like you said, Ben, you just had Ben Nichols of Lucero back on, 2 weeks ago now, or a week ago. And
man.
And that was really a great, he's just the coolest, man. And like to sit and talk to him for a while.
Let's do our best Ben impression. Let's do it. It's Friday night. We're having a cocktail. You want me to go first?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I don't know, man. I don't know, man. See, keep it short.
Right. Yeah. I'm terrible, like on the spot, like, but it is fun because like when I get to hearing those songs, I love doing that voice the best I can. And
well, you talk to you talked to his bandmate, dude. That was a great
Yeah.
a great chat.
Yeah, Brian was super cool. We had a lot of fun and making me laugh the whole time. Just very silly. It was also fun to hear him kind of rip on Ben some. Just not really bad, but it was, you definitely could tell like they've been friends for a long time. So like
They've seen it all.
yeah. So it was just he said something about how going into the new record that Ben's been very into 80s Eagles solo projects that or something like that. Like all she wants to do is dance, and so but he's like, nobody likes those songs.
Right. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what did you think when he was like wanting to make beats?
I find that stuff super interesting because it's kind of how I said in the show too. Like, people kind of know people in one light like that. Like you look at him as this guitarist and like, that's what he does. But like on his off time, he likes making hip hop beats. And like, I find that very cool. Like to, dig into something else or painting or whatever, it's like he does a lot of different things that are artistic, not just playing in one of my favorite bands. So.
Right, man, their shows, like, that's the ultimate, like, so Drinks with the Band, that's been our biggest one. So all that's organic. Like anytime we get anything over, X amount of views, I'm super happy. Right. And it's legit and it's whatever. Ben Nichols, we've had people who've won Grammys. We've had people that are like popular. They're hot. Like Ben fucking Nichols has been our biggest one that we've done. And I'm just so happy because my buddy Joey texted me. He was like, Ben was made for this show, for a show like that, where he gets to tell some stories.
Yeah.
He's having a cocktail. Here's the thing too, Shane, that you learn too. Tech matters, especially with music, because you don't want it to sound bad, right? Like,
especially you're doing digitally over Zoom kind of thing or whatever over the internet. Definitely having a solid internet connection and a good mic and everything makes a world of difference. So
huge. As I sit in a studio with all this equipment and I'm the dickhead on an iPhone right now.
Who would do
Sorry
it?
about that. But no, he took it serious and it was so fun and it was a blast. And we've got the Minks. They're out of Nashville. They're friends with our buddy Josh Eaker. They're like an up and coming band that's like rocking. That's been cool too. Like seeing the like kind of up and comers that are still Nashville bands, but are like, on their way up. And then Sadler Vaden is going to be on from, he's a great solo artist, but he's in the 400 unit with Jason Isbell. And then we're going to announce our season 2 final guest. Probably announce that this week. So really excited about that.
Nice. Yeah. And you had BJ from American Aquarium on. That was cool.
How great was he, man? I don't know if you got to see it. He freaking, it's so fun. It's not funny. It's like Katie Tupin helps book the show or books most of the show. She's sober. Like she was living hard in her early 20s with Houndmouth on the road, right? She's got stories. She's, whatever. She's been sober for a little while now. So when sober artists come on, they're like, hey, Jack Daniels. I'm like, no, it's not. Just come on. That doesn't mean I'm pouring whiskey down your throat.
Right.
It's Jack Daniels supports mocktails and, taking a break and sobriety too. So BJ's sober. He's got a million great stories. I relate to a lot of his songwriting. Like it's so rural or hardworking or in a good way, not the like, stupid, fake way, but like he was fantastic. And it was a pleasant surprise because Katie'd been telling me like, you should have him on, you should have him on, you should have him on. And at the last minute somebody had to change their schedule and he was first on the like swap in list and he was down and he was great. And he was, a ton of people tuned in for that. It was cool. We had people watching in Tokyo. So he was so good. And I like being a part of those things. It was a blast.
Yeah, man. So anybody that hasn't seen anything, of course, they all still live on Facebook page there. You can go watch those there or you can, there's a bunch of them on there.
Yeah, clips out on Instagram at We Are Live Radio, and I try and I'm bad about it on my personal, but at Insta Denman's my Instagram too. But yeah, the Facebook page every Wednesday, 6:00. We'll be doing season 3. We've got 3 artists left for season 2, so yeah, we're proud of it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm very happy for you. I like to kind of consider myself maybe like the great value version of Chris Denman. I'm trying to step my game up and
get out of here, man. Like, you're the number one. Like, if I had the energy and positivity that you have, like, holy shit. So first of all, the great value stuff tastes better. So shut up. Like, you're not little Desi. You're not the knockoff. You're the guy, man. No, I know you. I appreciate you being, nice or whatever. But yeah, man, it's been cool to watch you do your thing.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I've kind of talked about it online. It's kind of it definitely helped having like Brian from Lucero, and that's kind of a goal going into this year. Is like I love what we have going on here locally, obviously, and I love having these one-on-one or conversations with the band here at band practice and different things. But I do want to branch out and kind of just expand the brand a little bit and get to meeting people around the country and or world, and getting to have, especially now that I know that all of us figured out the technology with the like Zoom and everything, where we know we can do this and maintain a quality. So hopefully I can start getting some of those larger guests on and stuff. And
you've done it in the past, but then the bulk is going to be in person, and
right.
And you like that stuff, and it's just about developing relationships. It's not getting this. I'm speaking about myself. Not getting discouraged when someone says no.
Sure.
Not taking it personal. I remember getting some great guests right out of the gate, right when we started. But we were on a CBS affiliate. That at least provides some comfort to somebody for the radio show, right? So, but yeah, that's the thing. It's like, if you're consistent and you reach out to people, and again, maybe you will shoot that email to Cardi B, like I assume you will.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you will do that to one of the Kardashians.
Sure.
But Lucero, it's not a crazy ask.
No.
Don't get me wrong, they could say no, but hit up the people that you're into, and you have such a cool view of bands from top to bottom, and everybody loves you. Oh, my phone's being a jerk. No, man, I think it's just about consistently sending out emails and not getting discouraged. Like, if I was just to tell anybody that, I would just be pay attention. If somebody's got a book coming out, if somebody's got, a tour coming through that makes sense, that, your audience in St. Louis would maybe support them. Because that's the thing, publicists, managers, whomever, what you've built over the last 5 years, 6 years, 7 years.
May will be 7 years, man.
Crazy.
Yeah.
What you've done, you can't tell me that some radio show in Wyoming is doing better than, right? You're community driven.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of people that care about you, and you got a lot of people that enjoy what you do. So if I'm talking to you, Shane, just keep hitting them up, man.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. And then don't be afraid to drop a few names.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely have had various people, but most of those were connections I built through going to shows. And unfortunately, though our friends aren't coming to town right now. So,
right.
But that's sort of, ties into what you're doing, is that there are a lot of musicians with a lot more free time at the moment, where they're able to have these conversations with you. And so that's my goal. Until things ramp up again, at least I know I can try to catch some of these people while they're at home and stuff. So,
then they come on and have fun with you, and they'll tell other people.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I'm trying to make a run at it this year, trying to step my game up and see what
selling
happens.
8 billion little Shaney shirts is a
Yeah.
great start. That's an official number.
Yeah, taking over, man.
Dude, that's so awesome. It's so hard, even for like big time people, personalities, bands. Like merch is a son of a gun. Like, right? Like you gotta, if you're gonna sell it on the road, you gotta take the risk of buying a bunch of merch that people might not buy. Mm-hmm. If you like spend a bunch of money in online marketing and people don't dive in on that, like that's another thing. So man, kudos to you. I hope you keep our folks at Buy Jack busy, man.
Yeah, man. It's been cool so far, man. But a big shout out to Buy Jack and for their support. But sure. I'm pretty pumped to see those shirts out. Like it's
he walked to the studio earlier today, and I was like, "This son of a bitch! Look at Shane go!" Like they were printing them up, getting them ready, man.
Yeah, so very cool.
It's got to be a good feeling.
Yeah. Well, I like that they're like, kind of. You say we're talking about the community kind of thing, and that, not to brag or whatever, but like it does feel good when I hear people like connecting outside when I'm not even around. Like they'll just run into somebody that's wearing my shirt and it's a conversation starter. Like, oh, hey, Shane, and like, this kind of thing. And like, so it's cool that even when I'm not there, my friends are still meeting each other and like realizing, hey, like we have something to talk about. We already know Shane. We've both been on his show or whatever. And
that's what it's all about, man. Like that's, like you said, it's a community piece. And then like, I don't see you asking for it back, but we're human and we do these things. So I don't know of anyone that is like, at least talks about it, that's like as big of a supporter as you. Like you spend, like you don't have kids and
right.
like you're out there, like your hobby seems to be attending live shows and supporting your friends. That's incredible.
For sure. Yeah. No, that's definitely it. I was actually talking about the other day, like how some of the silly things I do spend my money on besides records and concert tickets and stuff. But like, I talked about I have a Ghostbusters hoodie that's customized with my name on it, that, with the proton pack and all that. And I have like a Mighty Ducks jersey. And I was like, when you're 35 and have a little bit of an expendable income, because you don't have babies and stuff, you can buy these silly things that you always wanted since you were a kid. And obviously a supportive wife. Like, right.
Let's sorry to turn the microphone on you, Shane, but like, let's talk about this. You go to fucking everything and you're not me. Like I hit share and I'm like, my ass worked 12 hours a day and I love you, but I'm going to go home and I'm going to like Saturday. I'm so excited. I'm going to work most of Saturday and then I'm going to go home and I'm going to make the same bullshit food I always make. And I'm going to have like a couple glasses of wine and I'm going to sit there and I'm going to watch the UFC card and I'm not going to talk to anybody and I'm just going to hang out with my dogs. But I would do that if it was a pandemic or not, my friend.
Right.
You would be out and probably stop by like 3 shows. So I do not have a wife. So I don't have anybody to answer to on that. So I say that like, how does this, and I don't say this like everybody's wife isn't making them stay home or anything like that, but people do require that you're around. It seems like you've got a good mix, man. It seems like you guys are at least, you're either a really good actor and you post appropriately, or you guys are like doing like, she obviously supports this or you wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like it's all about balance, man. I try to make sure we have our date days. And like, just like anything, I try to, usually Sundays are date day kind of stuff or something like, but she works a lot of mornings. So it's like, so there's days where she's going to bed by the time I get off work anyway. And right. So like, I'll be like, well, I guess I'll go out and do a podcast or hit a show or whatever, instead of just sitting on the couch by myself. So, but it works out. Like I said, when our schedules do align and we're able to go out and do some fun stuff, it's, we make it happen. So,
Does she like live events?
Well, so her music taste
what scale of like are we
right.
talking?
Yeah.
We're talking normal or little Shaney?
Yeah, she's definitely not as outgoing as I am. She was much more comfortable just sitting on the couch watching Kardashians or whatever, and watching her shows with our pup. But she's big into like more all the shows that she wants to go see are always like $100 tickets. I took her to see Garth Brooks and Shania Twain and all this kind of stuff. And those
nice
are yeah, those are, I mean, they're fun shows, but like, how many my shows I could have got for this so
right. And I get it too, where like I'm sure a Garth Brooks show is life changing, and I'm serious. Yeah, I'm sure it's incredible. I'm the same way. I've been to a tenth of the shows you've been to, but I've been to quite a few shows, and I'll never forget like seeing it. Had been a while since I'd been to a big boy show, and I went with my buddy Joey and saw the Foo Fighters at whatever it was at Sabbath or Enterprise.
Right.
Enterprise. It was like Keel, Sabbath, people.
Yeah.
So at Enterprise, and I hadn't been to an Enterprise show in forever, and there was a mother effing catwalk, and Dave Grohl walked down the catwalk with a ridiculous guitar doing a solo, and I quickly got reminded, like, oh yeah. Yes, I love the intimate shows, the sweaty shows at Off Broadway and Off Broadway or in Broadway Oyster Bar, stuff like that. But there is something special to that. Like Dave Grohl screaming into a stadium full of people. It's like, okay, I get it. Yeah, there it is. I remember.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't go to a ton of those, but it's those can definitely be fun.
Different,
but at the same time, like seeing one of your favorite bands from 10 feet away in a small club is pretty cool too. So
I'll take that. Do you have a favorite show you've ever been to?
Oh man, there's
rude question. I apologize.
There's definitely a lot of them that stand out. I mean, but the thing is, like, if I start telling you, like, a lot of them, you're like, I don't know who that is. And like, it wouldn't like, but like one of them, most of them, I'm like, why are only 5 people here? Like, how is this happening? Like, these people are incredible and nobody's here to see this. And, but like, I remember one night I saw Sean Hayes at Off Broadway, and he's just a fantastic. He doesn't tour a whole lot though. That's the thing. So like, for him to come to St. Louis, he doesn't have like a strong fan base here,
right?
Because he just doesn't. It's a lot of these guys like Lucero and we mentioned or whatever. They hit here every year, and they build up a while. So, but anyway, so like seeing Sean Hayes, I'm like sitting there like, literally touching the stage, like 6 other people in the room or whatever, and I'm like, this is I'm having the time of my life, but it's just sad that nobody else. I feel bad that because I'm like, well, now I know that he's not going to come back to St. Louis because nobody. So it's like I better soak this up and appreciate it as much as I can. So
for sure, and I mean, for a different level, that probably means something to you too. But yeah, it's disappointing where you're like, no, I know what's good, and this is good. Like you should be here. Yeah.
Well, like even before that, I saw on and he also came back, but with Ben Nichols, another connection there. But I saw John Moreland in Gramophone,
absolutely,
with like 7 people, and he's just sitting there on a stool pouring his heart out in his songs. And then like the next thing, he's on the road with Jason Isbell and he's, whatever. He's like, he's doing big things. So it's just like, it's kind of crazy that, I got to see some of these people in these small venues with nobody. And
I wanted, did Matt do a Gaslight session with John Moreland? I can't remember if he did or not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Matt's done it. I don't know if you know Matt.
Oh yeah.
He's done cool things. Yeah.
Yeah. I
But
don't
no,
know that.
John Moreland is like blown up. Yeah, it's funny. Not that no one knew who he was, but it was probably weather related or playoff hockey
Sure.
related. But I
Yeah.
saw Joe Coy at
Oh, yeah.
Helium.
Yeah, Joe's great.
With like, well, yeah, he was phenomenal, and there were 30 people there. It had to be weather.
Yeah.
And then like Joe was super nice, and I got the opportunity to go be on his show in Los Angeles and all this crazy shit.
Mhm.
Joe Coy, before the pandemic, sold out the Staples Center.
Yeah. I was there that same weekend, and he just came off like this massive tour of the, arena stuff. And then he comes to Helium, and there's like 20, 30 people in this room. Like I think I went to the Thursday night show, and it was like,
I probably went to the Friday or Saturday. Yeah. And he tore it up though. He still gave it his all. Yeah.
But it was fun because you got more like a unique show, because again, like he's not trying to do comedy to 40,000 people or something like that. He's doing it to, he can literally, put the mic down and just have a conversation with you. And so, it was a wild night though, for sure. And Joe's super cool and took pictures with all of us, and so.
Takes a mean selfie, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He takes it over. He goes, I got it.
Yeah. But, that was a fun night, man. And again, those are same kind of thing. I didn't get the personal kind of thing, but going into comedy, like seeing like guys like Brian Regan in Helium and stuff, a guy who also does theaters all the time and stuff, and to see him in a small club, like
arenas.
Yeah. Right. And you see one of your favorites up and close and personal, man, you can't beat that. So
have you gotten starstruck?
I don't know. Like there's definitely people that I get, excited to meet and stuff. But like my biggest thing, especially with doing the podcast, is just like play it cool, like
let's enjoy the moment.
Yeah. Treat them like people. And then like afterwards, me and my buddies are all high-fiving, it's like, so,
right. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
But I mean, like, I don't know. I met, Jack Black and Kyle at Vintage Vinyl. I got Slash to sign my CD. Gary Clark Jr. I mean, I've met a lot of really cool people, and had a moment of time to sit and talk to them for a second, but not like we're super friendly, but it's like, still, it's cool just to have that minute to say, hey, I'm a fan. And
do you remember the switch over from autographs to photos?
Sure. Yeah. Like it was all about the autograph. And then now it's just a selfie. Like
I think about that a lot because my dumbass wore the t-shirt that I had them sign, but as a kid, and I'd still listen to some Blink 182 after a massive Riverport Blink 182 show. I met Mark and Tom, and I had them sign a t-shirt I bought. And I'm like, how funny is that? Like that was the goal. And then now it would be, take 500 pictures with them.
Yeah.
If you're a 16-year-old or however old I was when I saw them at that time. No, that's a funny thing that it was for sure a switch over. Like, would you ask someone for, an album or like a keepsake, or you bring a picture back and be like, hey, would you sign this? Like,
right.
I would feel so weird asking somebody to sign something now, but
Yeah. Well, like, the Jack Black and the Slash, like those were strictly signing. They weren't allowing us to take pictures.
Well, you were at a signing. Too.
Right.
I think I went to, I'm trying to think of another signing. I think I went to a girl I was dating at the time, and I was like, I've met Tom DeLonge like 3 times at this point, and I'm like, 22.
Where are you?
How about Tom DeLonge breaking alien news that was real?
Yeah.
I want to say I went to an Angels and Airwaves signing at Vintage Vinyl before a show or something. So I just thought you should know about that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's a definitely good name drop.
What are you going to say to him? It's like, not much. Just going to hand him the CD.
I do remember seeing them. I might've been at that same show cause I was around that same time period. But still one of my favorite, live concert moments where, I think, I don't know. I think Mark had the microphone, and he's like, and does this like, started talking like Satan, and he was like, Blink-182, they all have the biggest dicks. I know because I gave them to them. And stuff like, I don't know, something like that.
Where was that at?
It was at Riverport or Hollywood or whatever you want to call that.
That, like, it's, teenage boy, like in Blink-182, like, okay, dipshit, like, I'd love to say the Replacements were my favorite band then. Like, they weren't. It was Blink-182.
Yeah.
But I did see my first big boy concert. My dad was so cool. He took us and got me, like, what do you call it? General admission tickets for the floor. I guess I was 14, and he took a couple of my friends and my brother and his friend. And it was the Mark, Tom, and Travis show. And Phoenix TX and Bad Religion opened. So I got Bad Religion. That's my cred band on the big boy show. But man, yeah, that was a wild time. What was your first big concert?
The first one I recall asking my mom to take us to, I'm sure that we probably went to something with my parents, but this was.
I was gonna say cover bands in Farmington where I grew up. Like that doesn't count. Like
right.
GTO, Good Time Oldies. Nah, that's not.
But the first one I remember asking mom, like, "Hey, I'd like to go to this," and that was Matchbox 20, Semisonic, and Soul Asylum in like '97 when the first record hit and all that, and so
damn. Soul Asylum.
Yeah, man. So I got my buddy Chuck to go with me, and I think my mom just stayed outside smoking cigarettes all night and didn't really care to listen to the music. But it was still a fun night out, and that of course, it's cool to see Matchbox 20, man. And then the album was huge.
Now, you have a rivalry with a guy who has a rivalry with Rob Thomas,
right? Yeah. Small.
What's that son of a bitch's name?
Oh, Matt Bosler.
Matt effing Bosler, right?
Yeah, right. That is his full middle name.
Now, how did that? Sorry, I'm interviewing you. How did that? Sorry, I'm also my phone's dying, so I'm getting the phone charger set up. Hang on, wait. Free plug. Ready? There you go. Midcoast.media for more information. How did the nastiest feud in St. Louis media start?
Well, I think a lot of it, he had been on the show before and we were friendly. And then he got really jealous because my show had won podcast awards.
Which one?
It won this.
Maybe I should be mad about this.
Yeah. I won an A-list award from St. Louis Magazine.
Is that right?
Yep. So that was a pretty neat night to get to walk the red carpet and go live it like a rock star for the night. Got free drinks and food all night. And
so now you're rubbing it in that I had to help produce and be a part of the virtual A-list awards. Right. In which I was honored, but had to put together. Our company produced that live version. I didn't get any fucking food. You're telling me right here and now.
Yeah.
I might have to rethink whose side I'm on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people are taking his side. So
I saw that on Reddit.
Yeah. And then, so a lot of that kind of fueled his rage, and then
you can say our rage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he that's pretty much where it kept going from there. Like he feels
like he's taking it. It feels like he's taking it up a peg or two. Like, should I worry that I'm going to be harassed for being associated with this show?
I mean, as long as you said you side with him, you'll be okay. So you took the right side of this argument, and I think you're in the clear.
You admit wrongdoing?
No, I didn't do anything. I just happened to win an award. So now it's like forcing him. Not forcing him. He's taking it upon himself to learn all my show stuff and apply it to his, because now he wants to have a good podcast this year. So now he's what would be my wrongdoing by winning an award?
I don't know. I don't know how legitimate these awards were. Did you just stack the ballot box?
Yeah, to be completely honest with you, I didn't even know about it until I won. Like, so that was the kind of the crazy thing about it. So
You don't subscribe to St. Louis Magazine?
I didn't realize that the voting that I was even nominated until like Yale Hollander tagged me. He's like, "Hey Shane, you won," and I'm like, "I won? Won what?" And like, so
Does Yale represent you in a legal sense?
he probably should now. So
Okay. All right. I'll back off.
I probably need to talk to him.
Seems like you should.
Yeah, I need to probably get him involved in this situation, this matter.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
so it was pretty wild, but it felt good to be recognized, and then that was pretty much it, man. It was my one night, my 15 minutes of fame, and then it was all over.
get out of here. You've done all kinds of fun stuff. You'll do more fun stuff too. You're having a blast right now.
Hell yeah. Drinks with the podcast right here.
Drinks with the pod. Yep. Cheers, buddy.
But yeah, man, I think we pretty much just talked about me this whole show.
That's all I care about.
Yeah. I do have some questions for you, Chris.
Sure.
I've been going around asking a lot of these to just about everybody and having fun with them, see where the different answers come out of them.
Okay.
So I know this. I was listening to your show with BJ, and you guys were talking about like your hype song kind of thing, and you said something about Thunderstruck from AC/DC. Like was always like the song that played basketball and stuff. And I was like, I laughed because like that was like definitely track one on our basketball warm up mix CD that we had, and it was like, I was like, and so
if we were playing it right now and we had a drink every time they said thunder, it would just be you'd be singing this,
right?
Yeah. Sorry. Continue.
But so anyway, I was thinking like along that lines, like not quite your hype song, but is there a certain song that always gets stuck in your head that's kind of gets stuck with you? Or
yeah, so like I was joking, like I listen to a ton of music and I've been super lucky like to dive into all these awesome songs and stuff like that. But if we're talking like kind of all time we'll just say over the last like 10 plus years, I literally find myself humming Can't Hardly Wait by the Replacements like all the time. Like, and I don't know if it's just because like when I first kind of got into it, and I don't know what it is, but I'm always kind of just that'll kind of play in my head, and that's about it for me. Like, it feels like a damn perfect song, Like there's a lot going on. It's got the horns in the background, and I don't know. So
yeah,
that's such a cool thing to say. It's like, come on, dude, it's got to be a Hanson song or something. But yeah, Replacements, Can't Hardly Wait for sure.
There you go. Yeah, it is interesting. Like, I don't know if anybody knows the rhyme or reason behind any of it, but it's like, it's strange that sometimes when you wake up in the morning and you just have this song on repeat in your brain for no reason, a song you haven't heard in 10 years or whatever, and all of a sudden it's on a loop. So
I mean, which Eve 6 song plays in your head?
I mean, I celebrate their entire catalog. So
good. For your information, the Farmington High School class of 2002's prom song was Here's to the Night.
There you go.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. I saw those guys at a Wayback Point Fest. And they actually put on a good show, but it was funny because like their singers like, this next song is going to sound like it was written by an 18-year-old because it was. And, it was like, so it's
That's
like
great. He's gotten popular on Twitter.
Yeah. I seen he was like kind of getting getting a lot of attention for some of his stuff. So I didn't.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I just like that they realized they're still playing the same songs 20 years later on a oldies kind of show, 90s show, and it's like, but they were having fun with it. And
you gotta, right? Like, listen, if Eve 6 shows up and they're like, hey, we've got this new experimental album that we're going to drop.
Right.
And it's mostly instrumental. And we were heavily influenced by Explosions in the Sky. So settle in. There's going to be 3 tracks over the next 90 minutes. Like, they can't do that.
Right. I saw, I think it was that same year I saw Lit. And you
sound like your own worst enemy, Shane.
Right. Yeah. Oh, hey, but that's the thing. Like, you're waiting for them to come out and play that one. And they played these like country songs. And I was like, what? I was like, all right, let's.
If this was a lit show,
yeah.
Sure.
Right.
Not celebrating older alternative tunes.
Yeah.
That the radio station works really hard to put together.
Yeah. It was strange that they were playing like, here's all our new songs and these like country songs that were, and they're like, I mean, they sounded fine, but it's like everybody is waiting for you to like, get the, everybody jump into My Worst Enemy.
Yeah.
Or Ziploc or whatever, like they had a couple of good ones.
Sure.
So, yeah.
You know what band I think about from that time that I don't think got their due, or maybe got their due, and I just am the only one who thinks about it? Super Drag. The song Sucked Out. Who Sucked Out the Feeling? You know that song? You would love it.
I mean, I'm sure.
Love it.
Yeah.
Look it up. You'll remember it. You'll be like, oh my gosh, I was, wherever in 98 or 2000, whenever it came out. Super Drag.
All right.
Who Sucked Out the Feeling. And the video was on MTV2 a lot.
Nice.
Probably around the same time that Refused, A Shape of Punk to Come, where they had a video on there too. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If there were the day comes we have a Chris Denman action figure, what would your pull string say?
My pull string say?
Are there any classic Chris Denman quotes that would make the pull string?
Man, my friend Travis, who we did the show together for five years, he's the one I would be like, you should check out Travis. That guy is a one-liner machine.
Right.
I'm trying to. Wow. I'm trying to think of some of the drops we had of my stupid sayings or anything else. There's like, if ex-girlfriends are watching right now, they're like, I could say 6-7 things you only say all the time. Oh man, I'm thinking pull string. Okay. I catch myself doing this a lot. I'd be like, well, where I grew up in Farmington, there you go. That's what I would say. Pull it and be like, well, when I was growing up in Farmington, there you go.
Yeah, man.
They'd sell it at Tractor Supply.
Exclusively.
Yes.
Yeah.
Part of the merchandising deal, Shane. Come on.
Right. I listen back to every one of my shows. I try to do it to improve my, skills, to hear all the dumb stuff I say. And I do find myself saying a lot of the same couple of things sometimes. So there's definitely like this that you once you notice you're doing it, you're like, why do I keep doing this? Like, it's just like, you can't help it. It's like a reflex. And you just, all of a sudden you find yourself saying it every episode sometimes.
I'll think of it. There was something I used to say to like reset the show that I didn't realize I was saying all the time. I'll think of it.
Yeah.
There was something that's like,
right.
There was one time I filled in on the morning after on, it's on 590 now. Travis and I sat in, and Doug Vaughn from like Camo V.
I don't believe so.
He's their sports guy, and he's great on that show. He's so funny. We were interviewing Darren Dalton, who is a catcher for the Phillies and who's certifiably insane. No, it was Lenny Dykstra. It was Lenny Dykstra, who's been on Stern.
Oh yeah.
Yacked out of his gourd. And so I'm sitting there and we're interviewing him like an actually, he's like, rah, 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 rah. And it's 7:30 in the morning. The morning after has a ton of listeners. People are like, what is this interview? And we're fill-ins with Doug, who's a regular. And we're handling it fine. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, I'm going to nail it. I'm going to throw a little curveball to Baseball Man. We're going to have some fun. And I remembered, and I was like, now, Lenny, I'm, early 30s at the time. I'm like, when I was growing up, there was a TV show called Boy Meets World, and you were prominently referenced on there. I don't think you ever made an appearance, but you were always on there. What's the story behind that? Like, are you aware of that? And he just goes, like grumbled at me. Didn't even like, oh, sorry, I'm not really aware of that show or anything. Like, it was just grumbles. And this was what my action figure can say. I just go, I look at them and I go, and he was on there promoting his new memoir or something. I just go, it's silent. And I just go, the book, and broke the silence with the book. And they're just like dying, falling over. I'm like, just throw into a pitch. Like, it was just dead silence after some grumbles. So that could also be another one that my action figure could say. The book. Yeah. Brutal.
Yeah, man. That those drops from him on Stern Show make me laugh so hard. Like some of the stuff.
Holy moly. It's like you don't want to laugh at people's pains and issues, but I'll laugh at that. It's crazy.
Yeah. He's definitely a character. What when the day comes we have a Chris Denman biopic, who would you like to see cast to play you in the movie version?
Man, so many great tall actors out there. They got to be tall, right?
All right.
I think it's an ensemble cast where they switch out depending on the scene. If it's an older one, we're going to revive Vince Vaughn's comedy chops, and he can play older me. We're going to work in Jason Segel, and then Chris. Oh my gosh.
Hemsworth?
No, I'm not that close.
Right.
Who's Quill? Peter Quill.
You have way better abs.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bigger feet too. Damn it. Who plays Peter Quill?
Oh,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
We'll have Chris. Gonna need you to get back to Parks and Rec weight, buddy. He can do that for me. Ensemble cast of those guys.
With a steady diet of Little Debbie's, brought to you by that's
Rock Paper Podcast.
Yeah, there it is, right there, man.
They can come on as a group, and you can be like, "What was it like playing Chris at various stages of his life?" Thank you.
That I do. You said Vince Vaughn, and I just I think it just came out on demand and all that stuff now digitally and things, but they did that Friday the 13th, freaky I think they called it, whatever, where it's like a body swap movie.
Yeah
And he plays like a little girl, a high school girl, the whole movie.
Really?
And it's very funny. Like,
it's funny.
Yeah, he does a great job as a high school girl. So
that's great. That's so fun. I can't say I've enjoyed anything of his in a long time. I love him. He's great.
Yeah, it's a interesting twist on the body swap movies. You know, it's like obviously we've done it all, but like the real him is this killer guy, and then he swaps with this high school girl, and then she goes on to doing her thing. But he's like the whole movie. Vince Vaughn is having to. Like trying to convince the other high schoolers that he's actually the girl and stuff. And I was like super silly. I do recommend watching it. If you get a chance, it's worth a watch. It's
Vince
So,
Vaughn body
yeah.
swap movie. Got it.
Yeah, like I said, doesn't on paper not very good, but once you get into it, there's some pretty solid stuff. So some good moments. So
Perfect.
yeah, it was nice to see him because he hasn't really done like a ton of work, So it's
Yeah.
nice. It was nice to see him back on something and being funny because he's hilarious.
Oh my gosh.
Classic Vince Vaughn, sense of humor stuff. So
Absolutely.
but yeah, man, I'd watch that movie, man. That's a solid casting right there.
I'm thinking Danny McBride and his writing partner Jody, that they put together Righteous Gemstones and all their projects. I need them on to create it.
All right.
I need that I need that folksy dark humor.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's listen in Hollywood. Let's make it happen.
I think they are.
Yeah, big fans. So I pitched this one a lot to bands, but I think it still work because you get to already collaborate like with many funny people, like you said, or with Greg Fitzsimmons and just a whole bunch of people every day, every week, that you get to record. But is there a dream duet or collaboration you'd like to see for yourself? Is there a certain person like you'd love to work with still that or even interview?
It's not often that the answer to the question is connected via Zoom.
Right.
Aside from you, revamping Wall with Dave Chappelle.
All right.
And texting Travis selfies each day, being like, "Hey, bitch, look who took your spot." I think that's like, because there's no arguing with that, because he'd just be like, "Yeah, I get it." No, man, just like to interview, like, I don't know if it'd be fun to talk to Chappelle. Probably it would be interesting. He's amazing.
A guy like that would be hard. Like it would be very difficult. I did really enjoy Letterman's take on it. Getting to sit with him on the show. If you watch that on Netflix a while back, it would be hard because a guy. He doesn't do a ton of interviews, but I'm sure he's been asked about everything. So it's like it's kind of hard to ask him something that would
keep his interest. Right. Yeah. That's something, I don't know, man. Like if I'm going to be cheesy about it, like it would be super fun to, touch base with people my parents were really into, or like, I can't imagine the look on my mom's face if I talked to Dolly Parton, right? Like that was like a big thing growing up. Or like my dad like loves certain actors and stuff like that, or musicians. Like that would be cool just to be able to give that to them, to be like, "Hey, did you guys think this was good?" If I'm just being cheesy myself, like I would just go down the list of like people I thought were my heroes growing up and stuff. Like, I don't care if it sounds dorky or not. Like it'd be interesting to at least talk to Michael Jordan, to Kurt Warner. I don't think I've interviewed Kurt. I've talked to like Isaac and Tori, Orlando Pace. I've done a couple projects with him. That was incredible. But like Kurt Warner, right? Like people like that like my grandpa, my dad, and I, like we watched, and all my family watched. That's super fun. Like growing up, like it was really weird when I interviewed Kevin Farley, because Chris Farley would have been one of those people, right?
Yeah, man.
So yeah, I don't know, like attainable, like I'll just follow that line. Like wouldn't be that weird if I talked to David Spade. It'd be pretty cool though, just from all the stuff he did. And Sandler would be super fun. Yeah, just go down the list of like cool shit that I've been a part of. Honestly, like I'm not obsessed or weird, but like Brad Pitt's from Missouri, and I've met his brother who was super cool. I bet Brad Pitt would be a good conversation with somebody. He was like, oh, maybe he'd think it was like, at least this guy kind of gets where I'm from. Yeah. Like that'd be fun. So yeah, a bunch of different people, man. But if I just had the power to pick, I'd just start going down the list of like people I grew up idolizing or being really into. Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, I've definitely a lot of crossover on that list for me too, man. That's absolutely. Yeah. But I kind of got to live out one of those over the
over during the pandemic. I got to sit down with David Ruprecht of Supermarket Sweep on Zoom, and
I saw you posting about that, and I was like, "Is this a bit? Like, are you really this excited? That's fucking awesome, man!"
It was cool, man. Like, I mean, I watched a lot of that show as a kid, and of course, I watched it. They recently put it back on Netflix. I don't know if it's still there, but it was on Netflix for a while. Just some random episodes, and I don't know, it was fun, and for me, it was just crazy how easy it was through the internet to be like, hey, that'd be kind of fun to talk to David Ruprecht. 2 days later, I'm sitting down talking to David Ruprecht, and I was like, man, this is it was like,
it's wild. Yeah. Dude, and that's happened a few times, like probably because of Kathy Ireland. And Scott, like I loved Quantum Leap. I loved the movie Necessary Roughness. And when I first talked to Sinbad, like, people, oh, this, that, I'm like, Necessary Roughness.
Right.
Let's talk about it. So like, for sure that like, maybe that's one of those things. If I talk to Scott Bakula, St. Louis and Scott Bakula, right. Or things like that. That's a really good point where you're just like I'm trying to think of like shows that I thought were awesome growing up too.
What I was again with David was he had ties to St. Louis, was born here in St. Louis. So
it's awesome.
Yeah. So again, it was I mean, he didn't spend a lot of time here, didn't have a lot of memories here, but it was still like, it was interesting to kind of hear his take on, he still likes to come visit, but I found it, an interesting connection that we do have, that we both lived here. And
yeah, that's really a cool thing to do too, man. I don't know if it's, I'm sure people from other places do it too, but I feel like we do that a lot in St. Louis, where you're just like, hey, me too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get excited about that. I cheer people on so hard, like whether it's freaking Guy Torrey or Nikki Glazer or fucking like our friends, like other friends that are here, right? Like up and comers, like if you're from St. Louis, like I want you to win.
Yeah. We're definitely hometown we're hometown proud, it's like any of those people that leave here and go on to make it, but they still rep St. Louis. We're like, yeah, they're from St. Louis, it's like
a lot of cool people here. Yeah. Do make a little list of famous people from St. Louis. There's some big hitters on the the Office wouldn't exist without St. Louis. There are so many St. Louis people on there throughout the show.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. I do. I find it cool. I mean, it's something. It's just nice. It's definitely like that good conversation starter, icebreaker, it's just like, because you already have something in common. You're from the same town or whatever it is. So you can always connect over Emo's Pizza or Gooey Butter Cake or whatever it might be. And
Rock Paper Podcast.
Only if you're super cool.
Can we get a shirt of you doing the carpet ride over the arch?
It's going full Becky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only for you. I'll definitely make that happen.
A custom shirt? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know a guy who can print that on demand?
I might know some people. Let's see if I can.
Perfect.
All right. So speaking of The Office and TV show kind of stuff, is there a certain TV show or movie you wish you were in? Like, is there a certain world or a cast of characters that you would like to be a part of?
Can I be Chief Hopper's cousin in Stranger Things season 4? Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, you've seen the shirt, you've seen the stash. Like, if I show up, like, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen season 3, what's wrong? Have you seen season 3?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. If you haven't seen season 3, there's either a death or an absence that may or may not looks to be being addressed in season 4. What if I'm a relative who's also in law enforcement, or maybe like a deployed military guy? So I still need to be able to have the pooch. Like, that's part of the deal, man. Like, we don't need Hellboy David Harbour. We need healthy David Harbour. Mm-hmm. So if I'm his relative and I've got a little extra on me, but I can still maybe swing it once or twice, I think I could show up and nail that part. I really do. Just act depressed but still be able to like turn on a little bit of charm kind of not a whole lot of acting in that. So season 4, Stranger Things,
Yeah.
I'm in.
The role he was born to play. It's, yeah. Yeah, man, that would be fun. I poked a little fun at you on that one on promoting your appearance because especially with that shirt and mustache combo, like definitely it's either that or Magnum PI or something, but
Harbor went hard for us big fellas being sexy in the shirt and that, man. Like
Yep.
it's a vibe.
Yeah. Paving the way for us big fellas.
Yes. Or like, what could I do? Like, what if I did a reboot of, like, I'm trying to get David Allen Greer and myself in the same room. I just want to hang out with Dag. Let's think about something to do with that. Like maybe the next time I come on, you'll have a good answer for me.
All right. I'll get a work up a pitch.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, man, I really, this has been a ton of fun. I'm glad, little Friday night hanging out, having a couple of beverages, just talking and having fun. So,
what it's all about.
Yeah, man, really, this was, way overdue, and I'm glad we were able to make it happen tonight. And but yeah, if you aren't following along with Chris, get plugged in on We Are Live Radio on your social media. Find that Mid-Coast Media. But yeah, drinks with the band every Wednesday, right? And
8 p.m.
Yep. And like, so you said you're gearing coming to an end for season 2, how long's the break till season 3? How long do you or do you go right?
I don't know.
Go right into it.
So I do the show with ET, and then Katie books it and stuff. So like season 3 will be full. Like we're gonna I'm excited to do some live stuff with it whenever festivals and crowds return and everything. But I got to get with Katie. We got to get this booked. We've already got people reaching out to us. It's so exciting, man. So I would say late winter, early spring. I don't want to take too long a break, just because it's got a lot of cool momentum and it's a lot of fun. So
yeah,
I would say keep an eye out. We've got, as we record this, we've got the Minx, Sadler Vaden, and a special final for the season. So
yeah,
looking forward to it.
Speaking of music and festivals, we didn't really touch on it yet, but you are a part of Music at the Intersection coming up. September, right?
Yeah, looking at September for that. I'm helping out with all their partnerships and just kind of making it happen, man. The Kranzberg Arts Foundation's really, we started off leasing an office from them in the studio, and I work with them on all kinds of stuff, and it's crazy, helping build out an entire music festival that's aimed to drastically impact St. Louis's economic and creative just world. So throw in a pandemic with that. It's pretty wild, but the things they're doing, the Kranzberg Arts Foundation, the Stewart Family Foundation, the Stewarts, Worldwide Technology, are making this happen. There's a lot of cool partners involved. There's a ton of bands, and whether it's the capacity's full or whatever, they've got a bunch of digital stuff ready to go. So their aim is to really make a difference and a change in the economy of St. Louis, and to create something stable that we love, that also helps artists live here, keeps them performing, turning St. Louis into the city that Shane Presley's trying to turn it into, where there's good live music every single night, and they have crowds that go there, and bartenders can work and all that stuff. So I'm really proud to be working with them, and it's going to be a success. And I hope that more people can come than could currently,
Sure. Yeah, man. I remember, I had a role in the early stages of development for when this idea was originally gearing up to take off, of course, prior to the 2020 and everything. And so we, but I remember I was so excited, especially thinking about a lineup full of all of my favorite bands from St. Louis. Yeah. And I'm like, this is what we need, man. It's going to be if we can get like, especially with the absence of Lou Fest and stuff, like we don't have that big festival type of thing right now. So music at the intersection can slide right into that, fill that void, and provide all St. Louis local entertainment, and put these artists who are national acts tour the world. They just happen to live here in St. Louis, put them up on these big stages and pack these places and have a hell of a time. And
yeah, it's going to be like a really cool mix of like national artists and St. Louis artists, and
right.
I'm pumped, man.
Yeah, but there's like, I mean, I just feel like, and that's a big part of me doing the show and stuff. And you've done your part too, highlighting some of our St. Louis artists and comedians and stuff. But like, we have a wealth of talent here, and just a lot of people don't even realize, like, so.
That's what it's all about, man. They're trying to, again, it's not just them, but,
right.
Trying to help build up the community and make it sustainable,
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to think about it. And I just can't wait for getting back in to some shows, man. It's, again, it's been a big part of my life, and it's completely gone. It was a real bummer, but yeah, it's going to be nice when we can get back in there and have some fun again. So
I'm looking forward to it, buddy.
Yeah, man. I can't wait to see you. And hopefully one day me, you, and John can recreate that picture of the three of us at Oyster Bar patio someday or something, man. And that was a good night out.
I don't remember it.
That'll happen.
No, I'm pumped, man. And thanks so much for having me on here. And you keep the freaking energy, man. Thanks for supporting everybody around St. Louis and all you do, man. You're a sounding board, and it's awesome.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate your support, my friend. But yeah, this was cool, Chris. Thanks, buddy.
Take that, Bosler.
Shots fired.
Thanks, Jay.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.